this is the supply deficit since 2020. Can you see it?
Yeah, I could. It jumped to behind me for some reason. I don't know. I've got it now. Yeah, so we've got the deficit of demand exceeding supply. That's the large increase in demand. I don't know why they've got this spike up, because I don't see that spike on the numbers I was looking at. But the increase in demand is coming mainly from electronics. And of course, electronics are very important to the United States because of the big electronics industry and defense. So if they rebuild this stockpile, I guess they'll build it slowly, but they won't start buying until this draft paper has finished its consultation period. So the consultation period on the draft strategic minerals lasts until the 25th of September. And it's possible that after that date, they will start to build their stockpile, but they can't build it that quickly because 2 billion ounces is like 2 years' supply of silver. All of that silver's needed for the electronics industry anyway. I think the direction of travel is clearly we're going to go to a gold standard in some way, shape, or form. It's just a question of how it will look when it finally comes.
Yeah, Clive. The other thing I wanted to cover, because I'm in the UK, a lot of my viewers are in the UK, is this here. And I did a little, I asked Grok to make Rachel Reeves as a vampire, and we have even the CEO of one of the biggest supermarket chains in the UK, Asda. He's fed up. He's saying, stop taxing everything, So it's crazy. And I wanted to have your take as well on what's happening in France, because a lot of people of late thought that the UK would be the first government to fall in terms of the debt and calling in the IMF. But now even the French are supposed to be in trouble.
All I can say is that the French has got a problem with their socialism. It's coming in. There's a lot of demonstrations. It's become very hard in France to fire people. It doesn't surprise me that their debt is going up higher and higher. But I've got nothing special to say on France. I haven't really been studying it recently, Mario. Have you seen something special that's happening this week?
In Britain, frustration is boiling over. Business leaders like the CEO of Asda have openly criticized the government's relentless taxation amid a cost-of-living crisis. This sentiment reflects deeper structural issues: high public debt, weak productivity, and growing political discontent. Rachel Reeves, the UK's new chancellor, faces mounting pressure to balance fiscal responsibility with public demands for relief. Markets are already whispering about the UK's vulnerability, with some warning of potential IMF intervention if finances spiral. While such fears may be premature, they underscore how Britain's economic trajectory could serve as a warning for other developed nations.
Not really. It's just that here we've heard that the French finance minister, he warned that they could have a crisis and might have to call in the IMF. But what I've heard from Alex Craner, who I've had on the channel, is that, those funds that they froze from Russia in 2022, apparently France has used billions of euros of that fund that people don't know where it went. And now with the situation and the war in Ukraine going really badly for Ukraine, if Ukraine were to lose the war, you could see France be on the hook for like 50 billion euros. But like you said, the people always expect something from government, especially in France. I think France is the only country that has bucked the trend. And what trend? Well, they've lowered retirement age in the recent years, while other countries are lifting their retirement age, and that's becoming a drag on the fiscal side. But anyway, let's move on to something that you've seen, Clive. Maybe you something that you think
silver.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know how many people have seen this, but the United States has declared that silver is now a strategic mineral. This came out in an announcement on the 25th of August in the form of a draft paper. And it basically, I'm just trying to see if I can have a look at that. But basically, I can't. Here we are.
Can you want me to allow you to share it? Or?
Yep, I can share it now. It's Department of the Interior. Yeah. Let's just go here, share.
And they added, I think, platinum to it too.
Across the channel, France faces its own fiscal storm. The finance minister recently warned that the country could stumble into a debt crisis, possibly requiring IMF support. Years of high social spending, rigid labor laws, and political unrest have strained the nation's finances. Compounding the issue are rumors that frozen Russian assets were quietly tapped to cover deficits, an action that could backfire if Ukraine loses ground in its ongoing war. France is unique in having lowered its retirement age when most nations are raising it, creating additional fiscal drag. This divergence now threatens long-term economic sustainability.
Yeah, let me see. I think that's the one. Share.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw that too, but I forgot to mention.
I think, are you on the right page now?
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
So it says Department of the Interior releases draft 2025 list of critical minerals, and they've added potash, silicon, copper, and silver, and rhenium and lead. These are new ones, and they removed arsenic. I don't know why they removed arsenic, but anyway, they have. Now, putting silver down as a strategic mineral means that they have to build a strategic stockpile. The United States, I'll just stop sharing that. Anyone who wants to look at this article in full could go to the Department of the Interior and look up the release, but I'll stop sharing that. So it means they'll have to build a stockpile. There's no point in having something as a strategic mineral unless you have a stockpile of it. Now, the United States used to have a stockpile back in the 1950s and 60s of silver, and they sold it all off in the early 1980s. So as far as I can tell from searching around on Google and other things, there's no strategic stockpile of silver at all in the United States. And part of that stockpile was previously owned by the military because silver had a military use as well, has a military use. Anyway, they've got rid of it. The amount they used to own was 2 billion, roughly over 2 billion ounces of silver. That's what they used to have in their stockpile, which is a bit more than 2 years mining supply.
And I've got this chart up here, Clive. Someone posted this the other day, and I took a screenshot.
On August 25, 2025, the U.S. Department of the Interior added silver to its draft list of strategic minerals. This decision signals a major shift. Declaring silver critical means Washington is preparing to rebuild national stockpiles once abandoned in the 1980s. At its peak, the U.S. held over 2 billion ounces of silver, enough for more than 2 years of global mine supply. Today, no such reserves exist. With surging demand from electronics, defense, and clean energy, the announcement could mark the beginning of an intense accumulation effort, potentially reshaping the global silver market for years to come.
This is the supply deficit since 2020. Can you see it?
Yeah, I could. It jumped to behind me for some reason. I don't know why I've got it now. Yeah, so we've got the deficit of demand exceeding supply. That's the large increase in demand. I don't know why they've got this spike up, because I don't see that spike on the numbers I was looking at. But the increase in demand is coming mainly from electronics. And of course, electronics are very important to the United States because of the big electronics industry and defense. So if they rebuild this stockpile, I guess they'll build it slowly, but they won't start buying until this draft paper has finished its consultation period. So the consultation period on the draft strategic minerals lasts until the 25th of September. and it's possible that after that date they will start to build their stockpile, but they can't build it that quickly because 2 billion ounces is like 2 years' supply of silver. All of that silver's needed for the electronics industry anyway.
Clive, and it's interesting because you said they stopped their stockpile was gone by the 1980s, and you might wonder because silver is still really important for the military. Why it wasn't a critical mineral before? I think it's because the U.S. could, with the dollar, buy commodities from anyone, anywhere around the world. And the world is changing now. So, and the dollar, as we've seen, is not the major reserve currency that it used to be, and it's going to become less and less used.
Silver is already in structural deficit. Annual mining output has slipped below 850 million ounces, while demand is accelerating. Electronics, solar panels, and military applications consume increasing volumes, leaving less available for investors. Current estimates suggest only 200 million ounces will flow into private hands this year, barely enough to provide a single 1-ounce coin for every 45 people worldwide. This scarcity highlights silver's underappreciated status. If even a fraction of the public sought meaningful exposure, available supply would vanish overnight. The imbalance between industrial demand and limited mine production positions silver as a critical flashpoint in resource security.
So, yeah, it's not surprising. Not just the U.S. are going after critical minerals. The world's going to become less and less globalized. I think that's what we're learning here.
So you're right about the military use because back in I think it was the 60s, the U.S. handed over part of their silver stockpile, not all of it. They handed part of it to what's called the U.S. National Defense Stockpile, which allegedly holds 0 ounces of silver now, but they handed over. Presumably all that silver has been used in making weapons since then. But from what I can read, that stockpile is completely depleted. So they'd have to buy, if they got back to their old levels, 2.1 billion ounces of silver. We're mining about 900 million ounces of silver a year. That figure is actually down to 800 and something million now because the amount of silver coming out of the ground is less. And the demand, as you can see, is going up. Now, one of the things which is quite interesting, if you look at the Silver Institute, where they say that silver's going, they're estimating that in the current year, 200 million ounces of silver will go into private holdings of bars and coins, 200 million ounces. If you do the maths on that, it means that on the entire planet, that's only 1 ounce coin per 45 people. So basically, it's telling us that if their numbers are right, that 200 million ounces get sold to the public in the form of coins or bars, it's telling us that literally nobody in the world is interested in silver. Or, if everybody had, if everyone who was a buyer bought a coin and only bought 1 coin instead of a stockpile of 10 or 100 as people do, and I've had people writing me saying they've been buying monster boxes, which I think are 500 coins or 5,000 coins. I don't know how they're really big things.
I think it's 500 ounces, the monster box. Yeah.
So, imagine if everybody who was a buyer of silver bought 1 ounce, there'd only be 1 in 45 people who'd get that at that level.
Despite silver's importance, the entire primary silver mining sector is astonishingly small, worth less than $200 billion globally. For perspective, a single U.S. tech giant like Apple could purchase the entire industry multiple times over. This mismatch underscores both the vulnerability and opportunity within the sector. Policymakers recognizing this may follow recent moves like Washington's stake in Intel by investing directly in mining companies. Meanwhile, August 2025 data showed the basic materials sector outperforming all others, suggesting early institutional interest. As the world fragments into competing blocks, control over silver, gold, and other strategic minerals may define the next era of geopolitics.
Can you imagine if that doubles to 1 in 20 or something like that?
What was I going to say as well, Clive? We saw, and this is not something I agree with, but I guess what Trump and the U.S. administration what they're thinking is that if we're going to compete with China and other countries, we got to kind of join them a little bit. So we saw recently the U.S. took a 10% stake in Intel. And why wouldn't maybe the U.S. take a stake in silver miners or gold miners for that matter? I think, yeah, the silver sector, the gold sector, but especially silver is has a lot of potential. Not just buying bullion, but the buying the companies that mine silver. Maybe you could talk about the fact that there are not too many primary silver producers out there, right?
That's right. I'm in the middle. I'm 95% done on a study of all the silver miners. I've been working on this for many weeks, Mario, because I'm bringing a video out in hopefully the coming days, maybe even today. I don't know. It's a difficult one to do because it's very difficult to research each miner individually, and you can't use AI because AI is all over. You can ask 8 AIs and they'll give you 8 different answers, so you've got to do it manually. But the amount of silver miners, it's something like 200 billion out there. The amount of gold miners is something like 600 billion. So collectively, it's less than a trillion. And if you think about it, some of these biggest companies in America, like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, they're all worth 3 or 4 trillion each. So any one of these companies could buy the entire precious metal sector, mining sector, several times over if they were to turn it into cash and buy the sector, and you could buy it at the current price. So these sectors, the mining sector is very, very small. But if you look at what happened in the last month of August, I haven't got it for the mining sector, but I've got the basic materials sector, which includes mining companies generally. That was the best performing sector in the month of August so far, this 30 days, 1 month performance.